In this video, I'd like to discuss how to use Microsoft Excel to generate descriptive statistics discussed from Chapter 3. Now, before we start, on my instructor's website, which you can get from the DMAC homepage by going to Quick Links and selecting Instructor Websites, from this page, the websites are listed in alphabetical order, so if you select the first letter of my last name, which is O for Overton, and then select my name, you're taken to my instructor's website. Now, I do have above here a class page built for my online course. I only use this though for some document storage, and I'll reference from time to time some pieces that I'll upload for your benefit. For example, if you bought the textbook and you lost your DVD, or it just didn't come with a DVD with the data sets, then I've uploaded those to my class handouts in this folder called App B Datasets for Appendix B Datasets. In your textbook from time to time, they reference the datasets. They're at the very end of the chapter here, Appendix B Datasets. So if you didn't have the DVD or you don't have the Excel spreadsheets, that means you would have to type in all this data yourself, which I wouldn't want you to have to do. So if you go to App B Datasets, you can click this item here that says More Items, because there are about 25 of them, maybe 33, I can't remember. But in your book now, let me go to that data set now. For data set 2, we're talking about body temperatures, and you can see that instead of labeling these files with data set 1, data set 2, your textbook manufacturers, of course, renamed them descriptively, so you have to hunt and peck for it. But here it is, body temperatures. Now, when you click on that from my instructor's website, it's going to ask you what you want to do. Now, keep in mind, you can only really read these. If you want to edit the file and save it, then you'll have to save a local copy off to your machine, because SharePoint won't let you edit that file in my instructor's website. So here are all the body temperatures from that data set. And from here, you can generate a number of descriptive statistics. If you enabled now the data analysis toolkit, then you'll have a number of ready-made functions ready to go for you. If you didn't, or you don't have the data analysis toolkit because maybe you have an Apple computer and Microsoft Excel 2011 doesn't have the data analysis toolkit, then you can still generate these statistics. You'll just have to do them one at a time. Let me show you what I mean by that. Here, my data starts at cell A1 all the way down that column to A106. In other words, there's 106 data items. So what I'm going to do is calculate the mean, median, and mode and standard deviation, as well as a number of other descriptive statistics from Chapter 3. So what I'm going to do is click on Data Analysis. And for Data Analysis, I'm going to click from the menu of tools available, Descriptive Statistics. And the first thing it's going to ask me for is input range. And my input starts at cell A1 and goes all the way to A106. Now, I used a mix there, so let me fix that. A1 to A106. It's in the column between those, and that sort of goes without saying. I'm going to click this radio button for output range, and then click so that my cursor flashes here in this cell, and then choose an empty cell within my workbook, and notice how it pre-fills it there. And then I'm going to click Summary Statistics. Summary Statistics, Summary Descriptive Statistics. And then I'm going to click OK. Now, what appears here is a little squashed, so I'm going to resize the column. I'm going to move my cursor up here until the cursor changes. Right now it's a down arrow, meaning I could select column D or select column E. But what I'm going to do here, I'm going to move my cursor up to column D until it changes into this. Then I'm going to left click, hold down that click button, and then drag to resize that column. So now I can see the labels here. And I'm going to do the same thing for column E. Now here you can see what's been calculated. The mean of these 106 body temperatures is 98.2 degrees Fahrenheit. The standard error is something we'll discuss later. The median is 98.4. The mode is 98.6. Standard deviation is 0.6228946 approximately. Sample variance is the square of that. There's also something called kurtosis here. We might talk about that a little later. We already have talked about symmetry versus skewness. Notice the skewness in this case is negative 0.335689. Negative to the left, skewed to the left. Yeah. Range. The difference between the hottest body temperature and the lowest body temperature in my list is the range, 3.1 degrees. The sum of all these values, if you were to add up all 106 of the values, you would get 10,409.2. And the number of data values is verified, or the size of my sample data is 106. So you could also use the sum and count to verify the mean. Now, if you didn't have the data analysis toolkit, one of the things you could do is generate each of these statistics yourself. For example, if I wanted to calculate the mean, then in this input box right here, these are for functions, right? So I highlight the cell next to the label I just wrote, mean, and then there's a couple ways you could do this. You can click this button that says Insert Function. And when this occurs, it opens up this dialog. Now, if you don't know the type of function you're looking for, you could just write a description here. You could say, I want to calculate the mean. And what Microsoft Office will do is it'll try and find what you're looking for based on your descriptor. Now, there's an awful lot here. And some things do say mean, but you're like, I'm not quite sure. So you could say I want the average, and you saw that earlier, and it's right here. Returns the average or arithmetic mean of its arguments. You're like, okay, that's what I want. And now it opens up another dialog that says, all right, what data do you want to calculate the mean for? So I want the data from cells A1 to A106. And when I do that, I get the mean. Let's do the same thing for maybe the median. I could click this function button again, saying, all right, I want the median. Oh, you could see it right there. Click OK. And now, once again, cells A1 through A106. Or for that matter, the mode. Click the function button. Find it here. The function is available. Now notice this function has a note down here that says this function is available for compatibility with Excel 2007 and earlier, which is to say this function has been available since a number of prior editions of Excel. But what they're saying down here is there's a newer function available that's supposedly better. Look down here. Mode single returns the most frequently occurring or repetitive value in the array. Returns a vertical array of the most frequently occurring or repetitive values in an array for a horizontal array. Wow. So you could use this mode single. But I'm just going to use something that is available for all versions, which is mode, and choose cells A1 through A106. Notice when I type in those cells, it gives me the evaluation before I even click OK. Oop, wrote it in the wrong spot. I can fix that. Another way that you can calculate the mode without necessarily clicking on the function button is to put your cursor inside this input field, type in an equals, and start typing perhaps the name of the function you want. If you already know the name of it, it'll give you options. And look, if I move my cursor using either my up and down arrows on my keyboard or just clicking on mode, it describes the function here. I'm going to select mode, and here it gives you a code assist for what's needed. So I want cells A1 through A106. Or I could just start typing in values as well. but I want Excel to just use the values I have here. And there I go. Now, standard deviation. Let's calculate this. If you click the function button and type in standard deviation, it says, look at here, estimate the standard deviation based on a sample from a selected database entries. Well, this is the preferred way they want you to do it. Calculates the standard deviation based on the entire population of selected database entries. But these are the brand new ones. The ones that I want you to use are here. Just this standard deviation. Once again, this function is available for compatibility with older versions because this is what they've been using for a number of versions of Microsoft Excel for some time. But there supposedly is a better function for you to use. Estimates the standard deviation based on a sample, including logical values in text. That's really interesting. But we're going to use stdev. They prompt you for the cells A1 to A106, and look, 0.622899646, which is identical to what they got before. And you're like, wait a second, how come fewer digits are displaying in this one? Well, you just have to expand your dialog, and yeah, you get more digits. And that's how you create these summary statistics in Excel.